Hello my friends! Today we're going to make an almost one-layer card, which just basically means it's going to be a card with very minimal paper and embellishments layered atop. Just because I'm going to be mailing this out, so I want to make sure it's flat and it goes through the mail. So let's get started. I'm just starting with a standard card size, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and I'm just going to take my Marina Mist, which is a light blue, and I'm just going to sponge lightly around the edges, just to add a little color without having to add paper. Okay, so now that I have that sponge, I'm going to I'm going to actually start stamping. What I'm going to do is in the end of the card is going to have this little designer paper strip over here, so I'm going to be doing most of my stamping over here. So just to give myself a guide, since I'm going to be using my Stamp-A-ma-jig, I'm going to just put a small little pencil line just a little bit in this way so that I know where to stamp and I don't stamp on top of my designer paper. So I have these two stamps from Stampin' Up. These are from the Cheap Talk stamp set. And in order to get it placed exactly, I'm going to have to use my Stamp-A-ma-jig, which is this jig with this clear transparency I've used before. And all I did was I already pre-stamped it onto this transparency in the green ink. And the ink is Old Olive. So I see my line, so I'm going to place my branch where I want it. I just want it to appear like it's peeking out from behind that designer paper. So I line up my jig. Then I'm going to ink up my stamp in the Old Olive ink pad. Then move the transparency. And then just butt up my stamp into the corner and just stamp straight up and down and get a good impression. Okay, so that's how you use the jig. And now I got my branch where I want it in relation to my line here. So then I'm going to do the same with this little bird, but instead of it being in one color, I'm going to use markers and color him in. So I'm going to use my lightest color, which is this turquoise. I'm going to color in the body of the bird. And then I'm going to color its tail, this mambo color. And then its beak and its feet, this orange color. Okay, so to line it up on the branch, again I'm going to use my Stamp-A-ma-jig transparency. I already stamped it in the green. So let me line up my card and then place him where I want him. Then I'm going to put my jig on. And then because I use markers, I'm just going to huff on it, which is just breathe heavily on the stamp to re-moisten it. And now I'm going to stamp. And there's my little guy. Okay, so now I can start assembling. So I'm going to adhere my designer paper down. And I don't have to erase the line because I'm going to cover it with the paper. Oh, sorry, before I do that, I almost forgot. I was just going to add a little strip of ribbon onto my designer paper, so let me do that before I glue it down. Let's put a little bit of adhesive on the back, and then I'm just going to wrap my ribbon around. I almost forgot about that, sorry. Just for a little accent, and I'm not tying any knots, because again I want it to be flat as possible. So now I can adhere it down. Okay, and then all I need is my sentiment. So again I'm going to use my jig. And I forgot to stamp this one, so I'm going to just use my brown marker. Color in my stamp. Stamp it onto the transparency in the jig, and then now line it up where I want it on my project, then put my jig in place and then ink it up and stamp one more time. Move the transparency and then stamp. And there we go. So there's my card. I hope you enjoyed it, and happy stamping. See you next time. Bye-bye.